Yes, y'all. So fresh,
What up,
y'all.
y'all? Icon here, going over tonight's Hell in a Cell, the October Halloween Fright Fest pay-per-view. Yes, they've brought back the red cage. We have 3 Hell in a Cell matches tonight. Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre, which I hope comes to an end tonight. Sasha Banks versus Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And finally, Roman Reigns putting the final nail in Jey Uso's coffin. But we do have a pre-show match, so let's get things started and talk about the pre-show match. The pre-show match was R-Truth defending the 24/7 championship in an actual match against Drew Gulak, who really didn't get a fair shot on SmackDown. He's on Raw now. He's a Raw superstar, so he got, and yeah, it's the 24/7 championship, but hell, at least he's doing something, because we all know Drew Gulak ain't going up against no Bobby Lashley. So, like I said, they did the usual little Jimmy antics. The match was decent. I mean, it wasn't, for what it was decent. Because Drew Gulak's never going to do anything like shitty. But I believe it was a roll-up pin. R-Truth got the roll-up on Drew Gulak, picked up the 1-2-3, retained the 24/7 championship. Other wrestlers showed up, like the low card showed up to try to get him, because now that the match is over, it's officially 24/7 rules in effect. They chased him out of the building, say la vie. Which means he'll probably show up at some point during the pay-per-view one more time, to defend the title. And then after that, it cut to a Retribution Mustafa Ali promo, and he challenged one member of the Hurt Business. He said that tonight, one member of Retribution to go up against one member of the Hurt Business. And as soon as he said that, the first thing that popped in my mind was, damn, the Hurt Business really needs a girl in the group, because I would have loved to have seen Mia Yim go up against, a female representative from the Hurt Business. There's a lot of girls in NXT waiting to get the call up. Just grab one of them girls up, call them up, and put them in the Hurt Business. But we'll see who the 2 participants are tonight. We got an extra match that we didn't think we were going to get, which is always a good thing. Nothing wrong with that. And I mean, it's obviously not going to be Bobby Lashley based on how the whole thing went down. It'll probably be Cedric. Or MVP who ends up taking the match. But like I said, we'll see. We'll talk about that when we get there. But decent start to the show so far. And now let's move on to the quote-unquote main show. So the opening match for the pay-per-view, surprise, surprise, was actually the Universal Championship match between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, which hopefully means that Sasha and Bayley are going to close the pay-per-view, since their picture is on the poster for Hell in a Cell. Jim Cornette will have a field day with that one. This match damn near went an hour, and both guys started off in the cell. Jay wore the all white. Roman, looked like he always looked. It started out pretty good. Like, Jay was able to use the cage to his advantage to basically get the upper hand on Roman during certain parts, doing the splash dive outside, knocking him into the cage. Using the steps and everything. There was even one point where Jay he took a strap that was hidden under the ring. He took a strap out and he started whooping Roman Reigns with the strap. But like, let's be honest, like we all knew how this was gonna go, and Roman basically got the tar. Not Roman. Jay basically got the tar beat out of him. Like, once Roman shook off the attack from Jey Uso, he beat the crap. Jey Uso got, the way Jey Uso got beat was like the rent was due. Like, Roman was like he owed Roman the rent money and told Roman he wasn't going to pay him the rent. Like, that's how bad he got. He got beat up to the point where he got choked out. He got beat up to the point where Jay actually passed out. And then, the referee told Roman, he was like, yo, he passed out. He can't say I quit. And then Roman got mad and he threw the referee out of the ring. And then he just started beating the shit out of him. Like, he took the steps and he gave a drive-by kick and smashed the steel steps into Jay's head. And, he was, like I said, the man was like lifeless at this point. Which then, then he had him in the ring. He picked up the staircase and he was going to smash the stairs into, into Jay's face. And then Jimmy showed up, he covered his brother, he begged for Roman to stop. He was just like, we're family. He was just like, yo, this is Josh. We're, he was using the government, the government names came out on this one. And he was just like, yo, you talking to Josh, he was just like, yo, don't do it. And then, cause up until this point, and they kept saying this, that passing out doesn't mean anything, because there was even a moment where Jay had tied the rope around Roman's neck, and Roman had passed out for a little bit. But passing out doesn't do anything. Like, you literally have to say the words, I quit. But because Jay had passed out, he wasn't able to defend himself, which is why Jimmy came out to save him. So then Roman was just like, he's not gonna say the words, he's not gonna say I quit. So then Roman was like, all right, you ain't gonna say I quit, fuck it. He grabbed Jimmy, he put Jimmy in the guillotine and started choking Jimmy out, and then he wouldn't let go of the hold. Like the hold that he had on him was so strong. That Jay couldn't get him off. So then Jay basically ended up saying I quit because his brother was getting beat up at this point, and he said I quit to save his brother. So Roman officially won the match. And then, after the match was over, Roman went up to the ramp. His uncle and his daddy, the Wild Samoans, they were there. They greeted him. Paul Heyman gave Roman the belt and then got the hell out of the way. And now the Usos have to work for the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. They have to do his bidding now, so to speak. Well, once Jay comes to, once Jay passes concussion protocol, they now have to work for Roman Reigns. And it's crazy because the way this match ended, like, honestly, this should have ended the show, because now between like the Usos crying and like all the emotion, and then Roman was crying at one point, and then his brother coming out and all this other stuff, the fact that it went 45 minutes, I felt like I just watched the entire pay-per-view. Like when the match was over, like physically, like internally, I felt like I just watched the entire pay-per-view. So now I'm just like, now that I'm an emotional wreck, I now have 3 more hours of this to go. But no, good. As Paul Heyman would say, not Paul Heyman. Well, I guess Paul Heyman, but as Jim Cornette, would say, a good piece of business by both competitors. And now the Usos have to work for your tribal chief, Roman Reigns, and we shall see what's going to happen when SmackDown resumes on Friday. Next up was Jeff Hardy versus Elias, and I think that was the right call, because after that Hell in a Cell match, we need something to come down on. Although there was a moment where Elias was laying on the apron, which is the hardest part of the ring, and Jeff got on the top rope, and he looked like he was going to swanton Elias from off the top rope, and I was like, please, Lord, don't let this man jump off the top rope on the apron for no swanton bomb. Then Elias rolled onto the floor, and then I was like, oh, thank goodness. And then Jeff was about to swanton him on the floor, but then he changed his mind. He rolled out to go get Elias. Elias picked up the guitar. He swung and a miss. Jeff took the guitar from Elias, and then Jeff waffled Elias with the guitar, which caused the disqualification. Elias wins by disqualification, and the Jeff Hardy Elias feud will continue because Jeff still has to get his win back. And I believe the match was probably as short as it was because the Roman match like dragged out. And I hope this doesn't affect the Hurt Business match that we're supposed to get later. But yeah, I'm gonna be real. I didn't really care about the Elias Jeff Hardy feud anyway. So like this was fine for me. And if they fight again, they're not gonna fight at Survivor Series, but the next time they fight, I'll most likely be on Raw, and then we'll just hopefully be done with it at that point. The matchup that followed this was the Money in the Bank match between Otis and Miz, and I honestly I didn't care. I didn't care about the whole thing. I thought we were done with the SmackDown versus Raw thing. Everybody's on their show now. Like Kevin Owens said, everyone fulfilled their contractual obligations. So I'm like, why are we still doing this? But then, so the match is going on. Tucker was there for no reason. Like I thought Heavy Machinery broke up. But like I said, but the match is going on. So, it's pretty regular, decent match. And then towards the end, there was a moment where the Miz, Otis was on the ropes, and when Otis was on the ropes, Tucker actually took the Money in the Bank briefcase and cracked it over Otis's head. And when Tucker, because everybody thought for some reason when the New Day broke up, everybody thought Big E was going to turn on Kofi and Woods, but I guess no one saw the Tucker swerve coming. And when Tucker cracked Otis over the head with the briefcase, I paused for a second and I was like, well, thank goodness, because now hopefully if you've been listening to my wrestling videos, like everybody knows, like I wasn't a fan of the Otis Mandy. I didn't care about the Mandy Otis thing. I didn't care about Ziggler and Otis. Like I didn't care about Otis winning money. Like I don't care about Otis. Like the Otis thing just never clicked for me. So to see him get cracked over the head and to see Miz walk out with the briefcase, I was like, well, thank God. Like so hopefully like the Otis BS is over. Heavy Machinery should have never broke up. They should have stayed a tag team. But it's it's not definitely not going to happen now because now Tucker went heel, which I think is a good move for Tucker because him turning heel could actually save his career. Whereas like had he stayed face and just gone to Raw, just gone to Raw as a face, he would have ended up on main event jobbing, like with the quickness. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens going forward. Now that Miz is the Money in the Bank, contract winner, he can either challenge for the Universal title or the WWE title, and we know damn well especially after the Miz just watched that Hell in the Cell I Quit match, he don't want that smoke with Roman Reigns. So Drew McIntyre better watch his back tonight when he faces Randy Orton. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So now definitely tune in for that WWE Championship match because there could be a cash in on the horizon. Now we have the SmackDown Women's Hell in the Cell match. The match that I was waiting for most of all. And this thing delivered. Sasha versus Bayley. This thing delivered on so many levels. Like, I sat here after watching that Roman Reigns Jey Uso match, and I'm like, from an emotional standpoint, I'm like, how do you recover from that? But sweet Lord, Sasha's offense in this match was incredible. The ingenuity of the different types of ways that she used the Meteora in Hell in a Cell, like jumping off the table into the corner through chairs, and Bayley herself using the weapons, like the way she was able to hit Sasha in the back of the head with chairs using kendo sticks. Bayley had like a super kendo stick that she used to whoop Sasha with. These two women had a Hell in a Cell match. They had a legit like Hell in the Cell match, like how a Hell in the Cell match is supposed to be. Sasha even hit a Bayley to belly on top of a ladder. She came for the frog splash, got hit with a chair, and in the end, and you can even see the emotion. Like there was a point where Sasha had Bayley down for the count, but she paused for a second because she was just like relishing in like, all the drama, the history, the story that the two of them have gone through this whole time. And it was you could see the emotion in her eyes, and it was a very emotional situation. But in the end, she basically she took a chair. she put the chair on around Bayley's neck the same way that Bayley did to her. And she put her in the bank statement. She pulled her back. She had her neck pulled back. Mind you, Bayley's neck is inside of a chair, and Sasha's pulling back with the bank statement. And then she took her foot. Like Sasha took her foot and she was hitting like the seat of the chair because like when you hit like one side, the other side pops up. So she was kicking like one side and it was popping up and hitting Bayley in the chin like on the other side. And eventually Bayley just tapped out, and thank goodness this Bayley run is over, and Sasha Banks, the boss, is back on top. She's first time SmackDown Women's Champion. She's a Triple Crown champion now. NXT, SmackDown, and Raw. And I was watching The Bump. The Bump was doing a live stream, a live watch along, and they had Bianca Belair and Montez Ford there live watching watching the Sasha Bayley match. And as soon as the match was over and Sasha won, Bianca Belair, she clapped it up. She was like, congratulations to Sasha, but she was just like, I'm coming for that title. And that's the match I want. Like WrestleMania, like I want Sasha versus Bianca for the SmackDown Women's Championship. But we might get that. We definitely might get that because they've been pushing Bianca. They've been foreshadowing a lot of Bianca Belair. So obviously Bayley's gonna get a rematch, but once that rematch is over, like I said, I hope the WrestleMania I hope Bianca wins the Royal Rumble, and then we go into Bianca and Sasha at WrestleMania. But this was a great match. Like the Roman Reigns Jey Uso match so far is the match of the night as far as storytelling is concerned. But the Sasha Bayley match, like from a wrestling standpoint, this was the match of the night for me so far. So, like I said, I'm definitely down for it, and we'll see. I can't wait to see what happens on Friday night. But congratulations to the boss. So after that wild ride of a women's SmackDown Women's title match, we then went backstage to the Hurt Business, where Bobby Lashley, not only because the deal was that any member of the Hurt Business can take on any member of Retribution. Not only did Bobby Lashley volunteer his services, he also put up the United States Championship, which is basically him saying, nobody in Retribution can beat me, and I'm going to prove it by putting up the gold. Bobby Lashley is the leader of the Hurt Business. He is the CEO of the Hurt Business, and as MVP said, he doesn't send his troops into battle, he leads them into battle. He took the reins, he went out there, he put up the belt, he put up a fight, he whooped ass, he put on the Hurt Lock, Retribution tapped out. The Hurt Business tried to get him from behind. Like, first of all, the Hurt Business, the Retribution tried to jump him after he won the match, and then he beat him up. He beat him up by himself. So like when Benjamin and MVP and Alexander showed up, he was just like as soon as they got in the ring, like Lashley looked at Jaws like, yo, I got this, fam. Like the almighty Bobby Lashley once again retains the United States Championship, and I need this man to go up against Drew McIntyre, hopefully at WrestleMania. I need Bobby Lashley to win the Royal Rumble. I need Lashley to win the Royal Rumble and go to WrestleMania to face Drew McIntyre. So hopefully, I got Drew McIntyre picked to win the cage match between Randy Orton. So hopefully that happens, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. But Retribution, I'm still sold on Retribution. I still like Retribution. I still think Retribution has a lot they can offer, and they have a lot they can bring to the table. But for the love of God, leave the Hurt Business alone, because y'all don't want it. Y'all don't want that smoke with the Hurt Business. Hopefully tomorrow, today's Sunday. Yeah, today's Sunday. Hopefully tomorrow on Raw, Retribution moves on to somebody else, because like I said, this Hurt Business fight is a losing cause, and y'all ain't gonna get no dubs over there. So kudos to my people. I said I got the Hurt Business t-shirt on, and we moving on to bigger and better things, because business is booming, baby. And finally, the last match of the night, closing the show, was the WWE Championship match between Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. Drew McIntyre finally gets to main event a pay-per-view. Which I thought was pretty funny, because after the Sasha Bayley match and after the Roman Jey Uso match, I was just like, these two, I was like, unless they throw somebody off the top of the cage and into the Thunderdome fans, I was just like, I don't know what they're going to do to top those other two matches. And they actually did that. Well, not to that extent, but the two of them did climb the cage at one point, and Drew McIntyre did fall off the side of the cage, and he went crashing through the announce table. And the story that they told was after he crashed through the announce table, he never really physically recovered from that. And Orton was able to get the drop on him, was able to physically impose his will on him. But I was just like, well, we did a title change, with Sasha and Bayley, whatever. So Drew's obviously going to do this. Oh shit, is that an RKO? He RKO'd Drew McIntyre, and Randy Orton picked up the victory. And Randy Orton is now the new WWE champion, which makes 14 times for young Randall. And, he's too shy of Cena and too shy of Ric Flair. So, I'm honestly, as much as I talked about how I wanted Bobby Lashley to beat Drew McIntyre for the title, honestly, I'm okay with Orton getting the belt, because, I know Drew's gonna end up beating him again. Drew's gonna get the belt back. Drew's gonna become a 2-time champion. Drew's probably gonna beat Orton because what are we at, November? We're basically in October, November now, so Drew's gonna beat Orton for the belt at the Royal Rumble. He's gonna get the belt back at the Royal Rumble, and then after he gets the belt back at the Royal Rumble, then he'll go on to WrestleMania to face whoever they got in store from WrestleMania, which by then I hope is Bobby Lashley. But despite the fact that they had to follow those other two cage matches, it was still a good match by Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. And congratulations to Randy Orton for becoming a 14-time WWE champion. So that was it. That was my review for Hell in a Cell WWE 2020. This was a great show. I give this show a I give this show a 10. It's a show that I can definitely see myself watching it over and over again. It had a lot of great moments on it. It had some down moments too, but it definitely had some great moments. I give the show a 10 because it had great storytelling, it had great matches, it had title changes, and a lot of my favorites won. So I definitely can't complain about that. So thank you for tuning in. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about WWE Hell in the Cell. Like I said, to me, this is one of the better shows I've seen all year. Let me know which match was your favorite. Which outcome was your favorite. And where do you think things will go into the future? Looking forward to Raw and SmackDown this week to see how these storylines progress and unfold. We'll talk about it because we got Survivor Series coming up, which is brand versus brand, and we'll see if NXT gets involved in the mix. So until next time, until NXT War Game, NXT Halloween Havoc. Until NXT Halloween Havoc, take care. Signing off from Hell in the Cell, and I'm out this bitch.